What up, boys, and welcome back to yet another video. So in today's video, we're answering a question that I've been asked a lot ever since, well, right before the Cata pre-patch came out, and that is, what is the best way to farm Transmog for the Cata pre-patch? And Transmog in the Cata pre-patch is making an absolute killing. Now, what I'm going to show in today's video and much more information is, of course, going to be listed in the complete gold guide for Cataclysm Classic. So appreciate the support from all of you guys that has picked up that version. If you haven't, it's going to be linked down below in the description. But the thing about Transmog, though, even though Transmog is selling way faster right now on the Cata pre-patch than it is on retail, because, well, nobody really had any Transmog when the pre-patch came out, it's still a numbers game. It's a volumes game. And you need a bunch of variety in the auction house in order to guarantee multiple sales daily. But there is some dungeons that you should kind of try to steer away from, while some dungeons are way better than others. So you have the infographic from Sustaina to help ease it a little bit. So you pretty much got different loot tables. Like you got loot table A, B, C, and then you got loot table D. And the thing is, like, the dungeons in loot table A and loot table B, they drop the same, roughly the same world drops appropriate for that level. And then you have dungeons that drop specific, items that can only drop inside that dungeon. So you kind of want to combine the two, and you don't want to do the dungeon that doesn't necessarily have any specific items in it, but there is a dungeon with the same world drop loot table that does have specific item in it, if that makes sense. Like if Uldaman and Stockades dropped the exact same world drop items, but like you had Stockades dropping specific items as well, you should do Stockades. So when it comes to which dungeons you should do, it is also realm dependent, because if you have someone running, let's say, Nomer, they run Nomer a lot, and they have the Nomer specific items on the auction house, it could be way worse for you than it is on my realm, for instance. But the list is, you should go through most of these, but just to kind of give you guys an easy map on which one is worth doing, I would definitely start by doing something like RFD in loot table A. Both RFK and RFD is the dungeons that I would recommend you to do in loot table A, because they both have a really good amount of specific blue items to the dungeons, and they also have the same loot table as Moradon and Dire Mole, but Moradon and Dire Mole doesn't have any specific blue items in it. So loot table A, RFD, and RFK. When it comes to loot table B, it's different. Like, you should do both Nomer and Scarlet Monastery. They're both really good dungeons. I would probably start out by doing Nomer, as getting those specific blue items from Nomer is way easier than getting a lot of the specific ones from Scarlet Monastery. Loot table C, love the loot table on this one. Stick to doing both BRD, but also Sunken Temple. Again, though, you should start by doing Sunken Temple, as it is a bit easier to get those specific items than from BRD. Loot Table D is an interesting one. Both Wailing Caverns and BFD are both good dungeons to do. However, you can actually stay out of the Wailing Caverns and do yesterday's video that I did instead, because it's an open world farm and it has the Wailing Caverns loot table. So it's just way better doing that open world farm and just do BFD for this loot table. And then you have Uldaman and Sulfarak and Shadowfang Keep. All great dungeons. Highly recommend you to do it. Uldaman, now I would do Uldaman last. It's the same thing on retail as it is now on the Cata pre-patch. Like Sulfarak, great. Drops really good sets. Doesn't have any unique items that you care about, though, really. Shadowfang Keep has a lot of good blue items that you care about. Also has some decent green items like the Buccaneers and the Silver Thread Robe and Vest. Uldaman has a lot of insanely good blue items, but they are some of the hardest items to get in the game. So I would much rather run every single other dungeon from each loot table like 20 times before I even stepped into Uldaman. I really would. By all means, it is slightly different on Cata pre-patch than it is on retail, because there's been so many people over so many years running Uldaman trying to get the super items that the more mediocre blue items out of Uldaman are pretty much worthless. But that's not the case on Cataclysm. You can actually make decent gold selling like something like the Spire Wind Feather, or even like the Stone Vault Bone Breaker. Like those items are still decent, but they're dog shit on retail WoW. So that's kind of my idea of farming Transmog. Like you want to start out by farming the vanilla dungeons. Once you've done the vanilla dungeons, by all means, there is some TBC Transmog that is of interest, but generally speaking, vanilla Transmog is going to make you a lot more gold than going into TBC, and of course, Wrath of the Lich King. So hopefully this helped you out, and yes, this infographic is of course going to be on the VIP Discord as well. For those of you that are on the VIP Discord, you can check that out in the spreadsheet list for bronze tier. Or you can sign up using the link down below in the description. And with that being said, that's pretty much it for today's video, but I got a bunch of videos coming up, so just make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel. That way, you'll be notified whenever the next video drops. And until then, appreciate you guys watching. Bye-bye.